Good morning, Bookstagram. This is Felicity again, coming from my house, which is a library, and I thought I was recording, but apparently I wasn't. So let's try this again. I have several treasures which have been accumulating since the last time I was here, and I thought I would show a few of them today, as opposed to all the books that I'm not finishing. I'm going to show some books that are great treasures of my library. The first one I got some time ago. I'm sure I showed it at one point, but this is now firmly established as one of the treasures in my library. This one is Lestrange's edition of Aesop's Fables in English, not Latin. It's bound in leather, and it was published in... Oops, there's the number. 1724. It's a while ago. 1724. It is Other Eminent Mythologists with Morals and Reflections. Yeah, that dude is not Aesop, but Sir Lestrange. So you get a fable, and then you get the short and sweet moral, the one that Aesop would have provided, and then you get a reflection, which is basically a little sermon. And it's quite full. There's a lot in there. It's in pretty good shape. I don't remember seeing any notations, although there's a fair amount of foxing for this age. But it's really in remarkably good condition, considering that it probably was read quite a bit. I'm going to say that it was probably rebound, but I'm not too concerned about that because it's mine. The other major antiquarian acquisition that I know that I've not showed, maybe I've showed it on Instagram, is this concordance that I acquired. I think it's from Patrick's. The previous one was from Funky Antiquarian Books in Mill Valley. This one was from Patrick's Rare Books somewhere in the Midwest. And he has a specialty of antiquarian religious works like Bibles and, well, in this concordance, and antiquarian medical books, because he was or is a practicing forensic pathologist. So pretty crazy. Anyway, this one is lovely. This one is also in great shape. It was actually used because there's these little notations marking where somebody went through and actually looked things up and made some adjustments. But here you go. This is the title page, and it was published in 1672, and there it is in all its glory. And you can see the little notation there in the corner that shows that, the previous owner marked that he purchased the book in 1833, did some math, and said that the book was already 161 years old. He wrote down the math with his quill pen, and all of his little adjustments were either with a quill pen or with a steel nib throughout this lovely concordance that is mine. These kinds of books like this and the Aesop I just showed are ones which I consider myself to be the caretaker of, because these are way older than me, and it would be really nice if I am not the person who destroys them. So they live happily in my library, carefully put where other things like pests and whatever I can control don't affect them. So there are those are two antiquarian books. Very proud to be the owners of those. Another book which I don't think I've showed, which was one of my reference books that I picked up that I was thrilled to find at the Barnes Museum in Philadelphia. This is a Thames and Hudson production, which is, they specialize in doing really high quality, fairly reasonable, mostly art and art-related books. This one is gorgeous, and it's a great reference. It is exactly what it says. It is the anatomy of color. So it starts off with various palettes. Where did the colors come from? So it has a little history of the source of organic, natural colors. Has pictures of art and illustrations that show how the color palettes might be used, how the different color, the different materials might be used. Some magnified surfaces of the colors in their use. And what was really awesome is all of the color charts, and some antiquated ones, some new ones, ones that show how people use these color charts, and then illustrations of them. There's illustrations of old color palettes, not really charts so much, and then illustrations showing how the different color palettes were likely to be used, and showing just illustrations of, because it's such a modern book, the color reproductions are really good. Anyway, so there you go. Anatomy of Color, Thames and Hudson production, and the dude that put this all together was Patrick Beatty. Really happy to have that in my library. It's the kind of thing that when you really can't think of anything else to read, you're sort of brain dead. It's a lovely one to pick up because you can just sort of like graze through it. One that I picked up extremely recently from the beautiful new bookstore that I discovered in Piedmont, Tally Ho, is this guy here. Robert Graves, The Golden Fleece, and it's a Folio Society production, which means it's gorgeous. And of course, we all know Robert Graves. I like Robert Graves a lot, and so in fact, I like all the Folio Society volumes, but I don't get to indulge myself that often. When I see one that I want, that I can afford, I'm pretty thrilled to have it. Anyway, here's one that I found. It was boxed. It's in absolutely perfect condition. I'm not even sure anybody ever even read it because it's immaculate. The box was immaculate. This is a somewhat folksy folk storytelling version of Jason and the Argonauts, Jason and the Golden Fleece, of his adventures that started off so bravely and so well and ended so very poorly. But Robert Graves is a master storyteller, so I am looking forward to reading this after I've finished a few more of those volumes that are sitting on my I'm in the middle of reading them shelves, which are very large right now. Right. So another one that I think I have probably shared not that long ago, maybe actually some time ago, is one of the prized volumes of my collection, and that is the Codex Seraphinianus, the first American Abbeville edition, which I found many years ago, and I am treasuring it and trying to take really good care of it because I got it, although it was had been sitting around for a while. It has a few tiny little dents on the top. It's in really nice condition. So periodically I take it off the shelf and look at it carefully with clean hands. This one is one where you can turn to any page, and yeah, it's Codex Seraphinianus. So I've got to say, if you know, you know. But this is another amazing book just to sort of sit and just look at and say, wow, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's really a thing. I've looked at this for a while, so probably this is what I'm going to be doing tonight after my little quartet session. It's if you don't know, it's supposed to be a sort of encyclopedic history of an imaginary place in, as you can see, a very imaginary language, which is just too much fun to look at. I love looking at it. It was one of those things that I couldn't not get it. It was pretty crazy. Couple years ago, I was gifted with this absolutely gorgeous book. This too is boxed with a sort of light paper box. This is The City of Darkness, which is the photographic history before the tearing down of the Kowloon walled city. And this is this was, I think it was a first version of this. It was less comprehensive, but this was put together after Kowloon walled city had been condemned and was being cleared out. And it consists of a whole section, several sections, divided roughly into people who still were there, people who lived there at the time that this photographic study was being done, and fantastic, large shots of the entire facade of the walled city, and then inner pictures of the city. It's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. I can't even begin to encompass when it records how many people at the Heights were living in this, and how they managed to work and live there out of government regulations, and how they managed to get water, electricity, doctor services, policemen, police force, postal service. It's amazing. Anyway, the pictures are crazy. There's also a little section on how the Kowloon walled city captured the imagination of various writers, including my guys, William Gibson. So this one, I read it through, and then I went back and I looked at all the pictures because these are wild. Anyway, this is one of the treasures of my library now, because it's an amazing look at something that will never be back again. It lives now only in people's imaginations, and probably a whole bunch of video games and other assorted electronic sources, whatever. And last, we have a beautiful book that I picked up in Philadelphia when I was there this spring for my brother's retirement party, and it is a boxed set. Box set with a vengeance. This one is a absolutely gorgeous remake of the fairy tales of Oscar Wilde. I'm going to just kind of like show this around in a circle, because all of it's beautiful. This is illustrated by, say her name right, Shimizu, famous artist Yuko Shimizu, and this is published by Beehive Books, which is also a Philadelphia company, probably printed in China, but a lot of the really, really gorgeous ones are. So this one is one that I've already read now a couple times, because I know the fairy tales really well, but looking through the pages after I've finished reading the story, I'm just luxuriating in Shimizu's illustrations. Is astonishing. There's Oscar Wilde. I'm going to show a couple more of them because they really are to die for. Amazing. So every part of it is gorgeous. The illustrated letters, the illuminated letters, I guess you'd say, some abstract illustrations, and then things like this, which are close-ups of very detailed and very large illustration that would have come earlier in the story. So every single piece of this book is exquisitely designed. I'm going to find a find a page for that one. The Young King. Oh yeah. Let's see. I don't know if it's going to show its face here. The Birthday of the Infanta. Photograph of Oscar Wilde. We know what he looks like. Okay. Here's one. So Yuko Shimizu, fantastic artist, and this one is just absolutely gorgeous, beautifully bound, beautifully printed. It's a perfect book. Anyway, so this is today's attempt to continue being good and showing and enjoying making videos of books that I have, and not waiting 2 years before I do another one. So thank you very much for watching. Hope all of you are having a very good day, and continue to have it, and enjoy books, and let's enjoy the books together. Thanks, BookTube. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.